We're back. Part 2. This is where we make the dough. So I'm going to pick up a little bit. I was rushing through the last video because I was trying to post it. I ended up using YouTube. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So that's what I'll do here too. I'll go live once Ashley shows me how to go live. Anyway, enough of that. I was saying earlier, when you lose your starter, that happens. I'll tell you what this is. This is cast off starter or leftover starter, spread out on a piece of parchment paper, let it dry for a day or two, cut it up like little bacon strips. I've had this now for 6 months. I think you can keep it forever. I leave it in there. If I need to make my starter again, which, watch your own videos on that. You can start your own starter, you can get a pal to give you some, and then from there on out, it's just a matter of feeding it once a week or every 2 weeks, or using it. Sourdough pancakes, sourdough biscuits, sourdough English muffins. There's a ton of things that you can use to keep your starter active if you like. If you don't, it'll park itself in the fridge for a week or two. Then give it a little bit of lunch. Flour and water, watch it grow. Which brings me to my next point. So today, in 2 hours, this is the cool part. Kids like this. Look at how much that grew. We started here and we're up here. And it's ready. It's all bubbly, ready to go. So, this is where I start. My bread is going to be 800 grams of flour. I work backwards from there. So I know I'm going to use 800 grams of flour. I get my little handy dandy scale out. I turn it on. I zero it out. Just like in my starter, I use a little bit of whole wheat flour. In this case, we're going for 800 grams of flour. I'm going to mix me up 700 grams of white, unbleached red flour. I love the scale. Takes the guesswork out of it. So, I played this one earlier. Dino, he's on a loop, I guess. That's alright. Worst things could happen. I told you, you gotta have Dino when you're making bread. It's a key component. 700 grams of white. I'm gonna add 100 of the whole wheat. Gives it a nice color, gives it a nice texture. And then I'm gonna do, I hate that thing on, Good Morning America, they got everything all ready. I don't like it. I do it different. Shake it up a bit. You're gonna watch me do it. See my nice container I keep my flour in? That's how I roll. Yep. 800 grams, come on buddy. Okay, here's another thing. People love to baffle you with bullshit. Try to make things sound more difficult. Can somebody make better bread than me? Oh yeah. They can tell you the science, they can tell you about the microbes and the stuff in the starter. I can't do that. Don't want to do that. I want to show you how I mix flour and water and it comes out bread. Not the best bread, not the worst bread, but it's bread. So, I like to mix these together, the whole wheat and the white, before I add water. That's like a Dutch dough hook, something like that. You'll see. Mix that up a little bit, set it aside. Remember I told you work backwards? Flour, 800 grams. We're gonna hydrate this dough 75%. Quick math, how do you do that? I take 800 times 75% in my phone, and it tells me to hydrate 75%, which you can go anywhere from 70 to 80. I like 75. That'll be self-explanatory here in a minute. But anyway, 800 grams of flour, 600 grams of water. The other thing we're going to do here, and I like to, my rule of thumb with water, I get it as warm as you would a baby bottle. The old wrist thing, whatever you want. Kind of speeds things up a little bit. Maybe a little gentler on the dough. I ain't going to go into all that BS. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to put 600 grams of water in there. By the way, I can use tap water. I'm on a well. If you're in the city, use distilled water. Big deal. A lot of people try, fail. Why? Because you got chlorine in that water. Kills the little Jimmy Giroux bugs or whatever's in the starter. They ain't bugs. It's the same thing you get in a pack of yeast, only better. You don't believe me? Ask Dino. You know, if they cut Dean Martin in half, you know what he would be? Too cool. I'm just saying. Here comes my 600. Now this next part I do is going to have bakers and moms and grandmas cringing. I don't care, it works for me and it kind of eliminates some steps. This is the one figure that doesn't figure with percentage. 14 grams of salt. I use kosher, you can use sea salt. Why do I use kosher? Because I like to say, where's the kosher? 14 grams. I mix it in the water, like this. Got my scale on. I just add it till I got 14 grams. You go over, no big deal. You go under, no big deal. It's 14 grams. Okay. This is where I make salt water. And people are gonna scream. Sooner or later, the salt's gotta go in. There's a group of people that say, mix up the water and the flour, let it sit an hour before you even put your starter in, or any salt. Those things are true, that might work for them. I'm just doing this now because I don't want to be doing it forever. When I see that salt's gone, what kind of salt? Kosher. That's what I use. I think I'd use sea salt. I know I would. But I only have it in the big granules right now. Don't have it real fine. That kosher seems to dissolve. Okay. This is the part where we use, I gotta look at my board over here. 20%, all based on the flour, 800. 20% starter, that's 160 grams. I'm not going to dip my salty spoon in there. That's a bad thing. Salt actually slows this down a little. But obviously you have to slow it down though. Okay, here goes 120. I'm going to zero this out because I can't add 2 and 2. I'm going to put 120. And this is going to be the famous float test. I'll show you guys that. What's that mean? You want your starter floating. By the way, I keep saying 120. I think I said 120. 160 grams of starter. You go over, fine. No big deal. Okay, I'm 160. See how that stuff is all stretchy? Cool, like a science project. All right, oh, I want to show you this. See that floating in there? It floats right up on top. Now I'm going to mix that, dissolve it. Some people don't like to do that either. Say it's a no-no. It works for me. You can do this any way you want. And some people say there's definite no-nos. I'm just showing you what works for me. I keep saying that. I'm going to give you an example. This is what my sourdough looks like. That's not the airiest. It's not the greatest, not the tallest. Works good in the toaster. Make good French bread out of it. I also do eggs Benedict with it. Oh yeah. So I got that all dissolved. This is my favorite part, guys. I haven't forgot a damn thing. Scale. Boom. I'm gonna add the flour. Boom. Here's my dough. Shoot, can't remember. Somebody will know. Handy. So what you do now, this is the part where I've heard from a lot of my lady friends. I don't want to make bread. I got to turn Dino down over here. Chill out, Dino. There you go, pal. All right, Dino's down. All right, I want to show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to mix this up, and it by no means, I'm just mixing it. I'll show you. I'm going to put it this way, most of the clumps out of there. You're not going to see me knead this dough at all. I'm going to let the water do the work. And I think there's some truth to why they do that. I think the biggest thing sourdough you can do is overwork it. So these next couple of videos are going to be fairly short, and I'll tell you why. We're going to get this mostly mixed is what I call this. And then we're just going to let it sit for about 20 minutes. Then I'm going to come back and do this little folding technique and put it in a pile. I'm going to let it sit another 15-20 minutes. I'm going to do that 2 or 3 times. And by the second or third time, this stuff is going to be ready to set and let it do its 4-hour rise is what I call it. That's not the right word either, but it rises for 4 hours. Hey, I'm going to show you what this looks like. It ain't much. Here's my technique. I start to stretch it to the center from the sides just to make sure I got all the flour out of the bottom. I don't think I would make bread if I had to sit there and knead it. I'd get bored. I'm going to let this bread do the work. So all I'm doing now, and watch me, I'm just folding it to the center. Clumpy, there's still a few dry chunks in there. I'm working them. And I'm just working them till I see this thing gradually become a ball. And then it's just gonna, oh, and if I see a little clump of flour, I give it a little action like this, tap it down in. And I'm gonna let that water soak in there and do its job without me stretching it out. Oh yeah, just about there. Mambo Italiano. Yeah. Am I Italian? No. But I played one on TV. Actually, Maria Guccioni has made me honorary. Love you, Maria. Oh yeah, just about there. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys this. And man, this is almost 15 minutes. Like I said, everything is real time. We had 5 minutes in the little starter thing. And we're gonna come up on 15 minutes of this. I'm gonna show you guys what I did. And the biggest part is being able to just walk away from this. Okay, I'm just pulling it from the sides to the center. I'm done, as my dad would say, quit playing around. I'm gonna throw a rag over the top of that dish towel. I'm gonna walk away for 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back. And we're gonna do a little dough flipperoonie. Boom. Set it and forget it.